Welcome to the Life Curation Podcast. I'm your host, Andrina Tisi. Together, we will explore thoughts, inspirations, and conversations that feed our soul, spark the mind, and nourish the body. Thank you so much for being here to learn and grow, and for walking this journey called life with me. Hi there, good to be in your ears, whether it is the first time or you've been coming back. I am super happy to share the wonderful Dovile Sinke with you today. And Dovile is a business coach and mentor for freedom-seeking female entrepreneurs. So already this, I'm sure, is causing quite a lot of curiosity. And she supports women to start their own online business. And after leaving a very successful corporate career in Switzerland, actually, 3 years ago, she has now 3 successful online businesses and enjoys the flexibility of, for example, being in Bali over the winter month, where she was at the moment when we recorded this interview. And in our conversation, we talk about the meaning of freedom and the biggest difference between online and in-person or location-based business, and what mindset and personal development has to do with creating our own business. So there is a lot in this episode. Dovile is sharing from her own experience what she has learned, what has helped her, and some really useful tips and tricks for anyone starting out, including access to a 3-day kickoff for your entrepreneurial journey. We also talk about the importance of support, community, and that it really never ends, and that we are always on this journey of learning and doing and being and finding the balance of life and work and career. So I hope you will enjoy it and get some really good inspiration from our conversation. Have fun! Well, Dovile, it's so nice to have you on the Life Curation Podcast for a guest. I was very excited when you reached out to me, and I'm glad we're able to make this work so fast with the time difference to Bali and Switzerland.
Yeah, I'm very happy, Andrina, to be here to share my experience, to share my tips. It's actually, I think it's the second time I'm on a podcast on the guest side, because I do have actually a podcast myself, but I'm always the interviewer. So it's a great experience to be here.
Absolutely, so fun. So to kick it off, I'll just hit you with some questions. What is your favorite season?
Summer.
That's why you're in Bali.
Exactly. Yeah, I try to escape winters. I don't like cold weather.
We all have our superpower, but if you could have an additional one, what would it be?
That's a good one. It makes me think a lot. Relax more, I think. I find it quite difficult.
Okay, I think we'll get a little bit more into all of that. That's great. Which book is currently on your nightstand?
So I'm currently reading Robert. Sorry. So Kiyosaki's book. Yes. Rich Daddy, Poor Daddy. So that's the one I'm reading.
It's an old classic in the business world.
Exactly. I still Like it's the first time I'm picking this up just now, but I like it a lot.
Cool. Very cool. We'll definitely link it in the show notes. What is always in your fridge?
A lot of vegetables. And here in Bali, also fruits.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite vegetable or fruit?
Um, I really love papaya here.
I was just in Zanzibar for 5 weeks over Christmas, and the papaya. Oh my God! And the papaya seeds. It's so good. I love the combination of the spiciness and the sweetness. So good.
Yeah, it's crazy because I just recently figured out that you can eat papaya seeds and they actually are super healthy.
So
So
good.
yeah,
So
loving
good.
that as
Yeah.
well now.
Yeah. Really good for our digestion. Excellent. Thank you. And then just to kick off our conversation, and we'll get more into that, but for me, what really stood out for me when I was looking at your website and just what you in our conversation beforehand, is the word freedom. And for me, this is also a really big word. And so what is freedom for you, or what does it mean? Because I feel for everybody that's a little bit something different.
Yeah, exactly. Freedom is a big word in my vocabulary, and you picked it up exactly correct. So I used to think and I used to dream about a freedom where I could, just wake up whenever I want and not like 5 to 6 that I used to do in Zurich when I worked. Then because I knew I had to hit that train, I have to be in Harderbrücke, and being able to work from whenever I want. I like to work whenever I want and from wherever I want. So, for example, like today, be in Bali, stay 6 months here, maybe 2 months in Italy, in Spain, have a massage in the middle of the day if I want that. So basically, just be my own boss and my own boss in terms of time and where do I want to spend that time. But I've actually started thinking a little bit more recently, what does freedom mean to me now? And now when I have all of that, and I realized the freedom for me now is just so much bigger. It's actually that freedom to know that whatever happens tomorrow, so even if things go really bad, I know that I can wake up tomorrow and I know that I can rebuild everything from scratch again, because I have that experience in myself. And it's just so freeing to have that feeling, to know that I'm capable and I can do it for myself and for my family.
Yeah, it's really empowering. And I think we'll get into this empowerment a little bit more, but it totally resonates because the flexibility tied to the freedom, I think for me as well, is such a luxury in a way. And for you, was that like what you also said in terms of like the time schedule that kind of was, I mean, quote unquote, forced on you when you were working in corporate? It's just because we have certain schedules, I guess. Compared to now, do you feel, if we compare online business and in-person or location-based business, do you feel that's one of the biggest differences? Or what is for you the biggest difference between an online-based and a location-based business?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for me, exactly that flexibility that you're mentioning, that's for me the biggest advantage and the biggest thing that separates it all, because that's, or at least for me, that was always something I wanted, just to have the freedom, be able to work where I want and my own schedule. And that's what online business allows me versus physical business. But I also feel everything is moving more online, and people notice that you actually save. It's more efficient, and yeah. So I just feel like it's becoming a new model. Like even if I have an assistant or a team member in my team, like honestly, I haven't seen her for 3 years, like in real life. It's been 3 years, and we just working online, and it works great. And And like I was thinking about it, like I think I don't really miss the office life. Yes, like it has its own pros where you can just, have your colleagues, you have somebody to talk to, you have somewhere to go to, but I can create that if I want, because there are so many co-working spaces that you can go to. And if I feel that I need a little bit more of that network, if I need to change an environment, I can do that wherever I am. So
yeah, you took my next question right into your answer, which is great, because my other question was like, what do you miss, or what do you feel are more the cons of an online business? And I mean, I see it with myself, right, as well, like in terms of the community aspect, maybe, and being in physical touch with people instead of just over a screen. But like you said, there is ways to move around that. And I also think, for everybody, it's different. Some people need that more. And the cool thing is that where I think businesses are going, and I'm curious to see what you think, is that this, this mix of online, home office, which over the last 2 years, we've just, even big corporation had to get used to that, right? And in office location basis. So I think we're in a big movement right now where all these concepts are being reshaped.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and but what you mentioned, the community aspect, that's really needed, and for me it's been key in every aspect of my life and in every aspect of my business. And that's why, for example, I'm in Bali because I mentioned, like, yes, I don't like winter that much, but it's also, and probably the biggest thing is for me to be surrounded by like-minded people, because I need that energy, I crave that energy, and I need to see what others are doing for me to get inspired, so that I can, pass it on to the people I work with, to the people I surround. So that's why, like, I feel, even if I'm a couple of months in Bali, like now I'm like half a year, but I need to load my energy, like charge my energy of that community. And we all need that, like community is key. So that's why also, if you don't have that, I always recommend, and like what I do when I come back to Europe and I feel like, okay, like I'm getting a little bit too comfortable at my home, I'm trying to see, are there some online like masterminds, communities where you can get similar community feeling, or co-working spaces, what I mentioned earlier. That's also a great way, to feel that you kind of have an office to go to, but it's more for the small chit chats in a coffee area and maybe some events, and just to feel you are going somewhere and you can dress up.
Yeah, and I think like the word that popped into my mind is also like to be part of a frequency, right? Like if we talk a little bit in, maybe also a little bit spiritual, but to be surrounded by people with maybe also frequency that we want more, or that we want to be part of, is also going to elevate ourselves, right? And I like this term expanders, right? Which then we also see to believe what's possible, right, with others. And then of course we can be the same for again other people, and then it kind of creates a ripple effect of success in whatever form that is, right?
Yes, I can totally relate to that, and I see that in my life as well. As soon as I'm in this good energy environment, like say, like we were just talking with my husband, like when we came to Bali, like a lot of things shifted, like to a good way in my business, but it also in his business, suddenly it was just magic, like suddenly all these leads, like new clients started coming in. And it's what you say, it's a lot about energy, it's about abundance, like believing, living that better version of yourself already, and like the universe is just providing it back to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you've been doing this for 3 years now, right? So 3 years ago, you quit your jobs in Zurich, correct?
Yes, yeah.
So I'm assuming, the last 3 years were very successful for you, building your 3 online businesses. I'm also assuming it wasn't just easy and rosa clouds. Most of the time, from the outside, it looks like that, and but I also know behind it there is a lot of work. So, what contributed mostly to your success?
Yes, like it's been like a little bit more like 3.5 years. And it's been a roller coaster journey. So there've been a lot of difficult moments, the moments when I thought, okay, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm quitting it. There's no way I can go further. I just want to disappear under the blanket and just stay in bed the whole day. But I understand it's normal. And that's also like what I say a lot on my social media. And like also when I tell my clients, like there's going to be those moments and we just have to prepare for those moments where you fail, because every experience just brings you further. And what contributed for me like the most, I feel, to the success, but there were also like a lot of failures, or like not really failures maybe, but things where I said, okay, this is not going the direction I want, so we have to pivot. So we have to pivot. So we have to see what can we change? How do we take it forward? Maybe there's a new business model. Maybe there's a different market. Maybe there's a slightly different niche that we have to take. And it's like the first thing is, not giving up, just continuing going. The community aspect, so like surrounding yourself with like-minded people, the people that can elevate you, people that can support you. There's been business coach that supported me, and I still have a business coach, by my side. Also group coaching programs like masterminds. A life coach I also have had like for half a year, and it's been changed my life completely. And yeah, probably my husband as well, and his support has been really big. So yeah, I think I mentioned a lot of support coming, right? Like from different people.
Yeah, and I think that's great, because I think sometimes we get into this thing that we need to do it all by ourselves, and that's it's such a societal belief that we ingrained, that asking for help, for support can be a weakness. But I also think that we all have our zone of genius, where if I have my zone of genius, but something else, I'm like so I have my support, and from what you say, you have the same. And what I'm also hearing out, and I think that's such a great segue also into this holistic aspect of also being our own boss, and this having our own businesses, is the business development and the personal development. And I think the quote unquote old way of thinking is that there is work and then there's personal life, and they're separated. And I mean, I think it's already kind of old news, but that there's no separation of that, right? But I think when we have our own business, most of the times it's also we're super passionate about it. And it's our heart is so much in that. Where do you think these business development and personal development, how do they kind of marry each other? And for you, what was the biggest mind shift on a personal level that you had to make to succeed in your business?
Mm-hmm. So I agree that personal development, and like you put it very nicely, like the life like work and personal development is just goes hand in hand. And I also believe that a lot, because whatever we do in the inside for us, that reflects in how we show up with our clients, how we show up in the work that we do, what is the message that we tell others, and that kind of how does that attract back to us, the sales or whatever product or service that we offer. So I do, there are a lot of things, that I do on the personal development side. Yes, like once I became a mom, maybe I had less time for my morning routines than I used to do before, suddenly those morning routines, like, yeah, forget them,
Baby cuddle.
Yeah. But that's also, that I remember, even like this was the topic I worked with my coach. I was telling her, like, because I was pushing myself and I was saying, oh, but everybody gets to have that morning routine. And like, I feel like I can't have it anymore. And she's just like, yeah, but you just need to relax as well and like find your own way. And that has helped me a lot. But so yeah, talking about like personal development, there's a lot that I still manage to do. And there's a lot of affirmations, hypnosis, working on my limiting beliefs, trying to attract abundance, or just like simple things like just going out and working out and eating healthy. And when you mentioned about the biggest mindset shift, so for me, there's been a lot, but I think it was really the fact that I'm worth the investment. So kind of that I am ready and I'm worth to invest in myself in terms of to get a support. So the support from a coach, support from, and I'm talking more a high ticket coaching, more personal coaching, because it was really, really scary when I remember myself earlier to invest in something like in myself. But once I shifted that, it just felt, first of all, so good to tell that, for myself that, hey, I actually trust in myself in whatever I'm doing, because I'm also investing money in my further growth, because I know, and that's like just sends such a powerful message to you. And it just like changes 100%, like completely how you show up to everybody else. But I had to overcome that, as well. So
I love that. And I think what just came to me is like, first of all, like what you exactly said is that for yourself, that you're worth the investment, but it's also like in terms of your clients, that you're worth the investment, for them. So it's kind of like, again, it's like this both-sided way of worthiness, right? So that you're worthy, your coach is worthy, and your clients are worthy, So it's again, I feel like it's this beautiful ocean and bubble of worthiness.
Exactly. And it's like, so I like to think that my clients, like I think highly about them, that they are resourceful, that they believe that they are worth the investment themselves as well. But first, for that to happen, you actually have to believe in yourself, because how do you want that somebody else would trust you if you don't really trust yourself and you don't show that?
Yeah. And also what I liked is that you from how you talk is that, it's not finished. And that's such a, like, after the same thing, it keeps going. And sometimes, so with my clients, I'm like, it never stops. Like, I'm still on my journey. I don't have like all the answers, because things come up, and it's layer by layer our entire life, and we get to know ourselves better and better every day. So things come up, and it's a continuous growth and a continuous journey.
Yeah. And like, so, and I think that applies to any industry that you're in. Like, obviously we both are coaches, so it's kind of easier to talk on that way. But even I was thinking everywhere, right? If we are working in a company, or if we or if we offer service, or like we do, and it could be, just marketing services or coaching services. So you always want to stay on top of the game, right? On what are the latest trends, what is happening in the industry, and personal development. And also, like, it's also part of it, right? So you have to work on yourself as well, just to be on top of the game.
Mm-hmm. And at the same time, not pressure ourselves.
Of course, that as well. That's also key,
Because I think sometimes we can also, like, you mentioned your morning routine, and I used to be super tough with myself. And over the years, I've became softer and say, like, it's okay, right? Like, and not constantly being so hard on ourselves. And also finding the balance of what is the latest trend and the latest need, but also what is authentic to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm sure in your business, also with your clients, this whole thing of authenticity and trusting who we are comes up a lot too, because I think it probably ties very well into, like, that your clients believe in what they have to offer.
Yeah, no, that is key, and that is key to any success, because first of all, you have to be 100, 200, 300% passionate, but also you have to believe in your own product so much so that it just kind of magnetizes from you, and like people are just so attracted, because first of all, you believe so much in whatever you are offering. And I forgot the question.
It's okay. I don't think I had a question. It's totally fine, but I have one now. So, you mentioned the passion, and, a lot of times we have these dreams and these visions and poor, right? And a lot of times not only one. So how can we move from these dreams into action?
Yeah, so there are a couple of things, and I was just preparing a very similar presentation for one masterclass I'm gonna give. So I laid them out in a rather structured way. So what I like to say, so first of all, you have to have the willingness to change. So really be sure that, okay, I want this. Not just like, do I want this? No, because I see that a lot as well. But then people are just not ready for a change. When they truly believe that, okay, yes, that's it, I'm going to do it. You have to work on your mindset. So things that we were discussing a little bit. It could be working on your limiting beliefs. Like, we all have so many limiting beliefs that we put ourselves to. And for example, when it comes to starting your own business, when it comes to making shifts in your life, I see there are a lot of limiting beliefs. We think, we're not good enough. We don't feel confident enough to show on social media, or we think we don't have the skills. And it's all beliefs that we have, but they are not necessarily true. So I really like this exercise. We did a couple of weeks ago with my mastermind ladies, but basically we were asking them, okay, so if you step aside, so if you think about the limiting belief, and then you step aside from them and think, okay, is that belief that you have, is it really true? Like, is it for sure, like, for example, that you don't have the skills to start a new business? Is it really, really true? Like, do you know for sure it's true? And most of the times you would think, no, it's like, I can't say if it's for sure true. And then, you say, okay, so what is it if you imagine you can take this out belief for a moment, and how would you act if you didn't have that belief? How would you show up? What actions would you take? And it's just like so freeing. So yeah, just to sum up, there are a lot of limiting beliefs that we have. So we have to work on that. We have to identify them. And that's going to be key for you to see changes. And the third thing that you need is actually obviously a good strategy to start. So make sure, you do really good homework before you start. So I always say there are 4 things to make any business a business. And that means, really have a success. So first of all, once you start, you have to know the niche that you have. So you have to really solve a real life problem, something for your clients. So something that you would feel, okay, what is it that they struggle, or what is it that when they wake up in the middle of the night, what keeps them awake? What is the problem? So once you identify that, then just create an offer that solves that problem. And then you have to market the offer and you have to sell the offer. So these are 4 steps. They are rather simple, but if we don't have one, like for example, a lot of people I feel a lot of people stop at the market your offer stage because, for example, they create a website or they start going out on social media, or maybe they run some ads, and that's the marketing piece. But then they forget to sell it, because selling is also a separate process. We have to create connection where you have to talk to your potential clients and where you have to, in the end, sell. And if you don't sell, you don't have a business because you have no income coming in. So yeah, I'd say to start, willingness to change, mindset, good mindset, and a good strategy.
I'm just interrupting this episode very briefly to let you know that this is actually the beautiful middle of a 3-part series. 2 weeks ago, Maya Yutzwiak was on the podcast sharing her experience on living and working a location-independent lifestyle. And in 2 weeks, I'm talking with Anne Soderblom how to kick off and create financial freedom. So I just wanted to let you know to, first of all, go back to the episode with Maya and to look out for the upcoming episode with Anne. Do you come across people having a hang up with selling?
You mean that they don't do that, or that they don't like it?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are afraid to come across salesy, quote unquote, right? I know how I react when of course, this doesn't happen in Switzerland, but when we travel, I don't know how it is in Bali, but you go to a market and before you know, you're surrounded by 5 people who want to sell you something. And the more they want to sell me something, I'm like, leave me alone. So I think a lot of people, and I have, parts of me that has that too, even though I've worked for many years in sales and marketing in corporates, that we don't want to be salesy or come across this picture book cheesy salesperson who just sells something that doesn't even exist. I think that's what a lot of people are afraid of. Do you come across that in the work with your clients?
Yeah, and everybody has that. Like, I think 99%, or at least the people that I met, like 100% of people that I met, they would say the same, like, oh, but I don't want to sell because I don't like it. Or like, I also have, what you say, like, as soon as I come to a shop and somebody wants just to, oh, do you want that? Do you want that? I'm like, oh no, just leave me alone. And like, maybe I just leave. But once, and I also had the same also, that I said, oh, I really hate sales. But once you start learning a little bit more and learning, like, what are the good practices, like how do you connect, and what is actually the value that you bring the person, that where you come from a good place, where you start to make connection with them, where you basically share your offer as a as a solution for their problem, to their problem. So that's where it becomes fun. And that's where, you know, all the sales calls that then you later have, you don't look at them the same way. And yeah, like all the people that I worked with at some point, they started saying, oh, I'm actually starting to enjoy it, you know, because it's actually pretty fun. Because once you are at the step when you're selling, you have already created like a rather deep connection with the person, you know, and you know also if you can help them. And yes, if you know that, you know, also like on the other side, if you know that you can't really help them, that you don't go to the sales, because you don't want to work with somebody that doesn't feel good for you, and the same is on their side. So that it's more like it's just the next step, and that's when sales become even like beautiful.
Yeah, for me, again, when I was still working in sales for hotels, somebody once asked me like what's sales for me, and I said it's building relationships. And for me, you know, it's so fun and exciting to actually get to know the other person, right? And then I'm like, well, this is what I have to offer, right? If it's a fit, great. If not, great too, because I can't be everything for everybody, and I don't want to be, right? And I think this mindset shift for me has changed the sales aspect, because then it doesn't feel this like, you know, sales, and maybe a lot of people see what sales is, and it becomes more about getting to know the other person and having something to offer, like what you said. And if it's not a fit, fine, but then it doesn't, there's less of this attachment that now I need to close the sale.
Yeah, and it reminds me a lot, like recently I finished Grant Cardone's book, Sell or Be Sold, I think that's the name of it. But it was very, very insightful, and I love how he presented. And he was saying, you know, we do sales every day, even when we just communicate with our kids or we discuss with our husband, like, where are we going to go for dinner? And, you know, you are discussing different options, and maybe you have a favorite, you are selling, but, you know, so we have to stop thinking about it if it's just, and look at it as something exciting. And what you were saying from your experience, I feel exactly the same way. Like I was just started thinking, like when I get on a sales call, that's like the last, the cherry on a cake, right? Like the last moment in the whole process of the sales flow. And I'm just excited because I get like that one-on-one time with a person. I get to get deeper into their goals, into their dreams. And then, like what you said, like present what I have to offer to help them. And a lot of cases, they're just so excited because somebody can finally help them, right? And I guess you have the same when you have it with your clients.
Absolutely. So what do you think? And I mean, I think we touched on a little bit, but I would like to just hear it in maybe a little bit more details, or just more precise in terms of what do you see that a lot of, like, the mistakes a lot of people make when they start their business. Maybe also from your own experience, what the mistakes that you made, that you now, you know, a lot of times when we make our own mistakes, we can also, you know, use that as experience and teach others. So what do you see people make kind of over and over again?
So the first mistake is probably not being niched enough, like niched out enough, and wanting to be, you know, everything for everybody. Because, oh, what if, you know, I missed that client in the beginning? I don't know what I can do. But you just start with one thing and like one problem that you can solve. And so, for example, could be like if somebody came to me and I said, I can do your copywriting, I would be, yeah, like, but then you are no different than anyone else. Like I can get a copywriter then on Upwork for $10 to write me a piece or something. But if there was somebody that came to me and said, I can write you a copy so that your DMs are full of people wanting to work with you because of that exciting copy and that like convincing copy, I would be like, hell yes, I want to work with you, you know, like just tell me more how you can do this for me, because I want that result. I want that my DMs are full of people inquiring to talk to me, to work with me. So yeah. And also, like from my experience in the very beginning, we started with 21-day challenges page. We were offering all different types of challenges for you. So it could be meditation challenges, it could be weight loss challenges, book reading challenges, like the whole bouquet of great things that you can do. And but after half a year, when we started getting more traffic to our site, we realized that most of the people are coming there for the intermittent fasting challenge that we had. And then we said, but we kind of neglected that. And we kept for a couple of months still creating more challenges like, oh, but people also need meditation and people need that and that. But they were still wanting the intermittent fasting stuff that we had. So after another like a couple of months of, we finally listened and we said, okay, I think we just have to cut everything out and we just focus to become the most powerful resource for intermittent fasting. And that's when, you know, business started picking up. That's when we could create like partnerships with different apps, with different people in the industry, because we were niched out. We were a site for intermittent fasting. But yeah, in the beginning, you know, we were just like kept on thinking, oh, but people need that and people need that. So niching out is really important. And also, especially from the beginning, I think people also overthink too much before they start. They think, you know, they have to be everything, or like they think, okay, but I'm very good at this, but I could also solve this problem and I could solve that problem and I could do that and another thing. And then they just get lost. But I always say, you know, just start with something little, something small, and then you can you can add another. Once your first offer is successful, then you can add the second one, you can add the third one, but just start somewhere, you know, don't overthink it too much. Another thing that I did also was choosing wrong business models. So I, in the beginning, because I didn't invest enough to get like a proper business coach, I just kept on listening to podcasts, and I heard a lot of or YouTube videos or blogs, reading blogs. And, you know, I heard a lot of success stories. Oh, that person launched his course for, I don't know, $100 and immediately had that many people sign up. And you're like, yes, I want that. That sounds amazing, right? And you keep hearing those stories with somebody because that's passive income, and you launch one product. And so that's what we went for. But yeah, then after some time, I realized for that to be successful, you actually have to have a huge audience. Because if you have like your goal, let's say your goal is to make 5,000 from that business of yours every month, and you're selling something for $100, then think you have every month to convince 50 people to buy from you. And when you're just starting out, 50 people is a lot. So yes, like pre-recorded course is one way to make money, but it's usually, it's something you add as an extra thing next to the main thing that generates you money. And I didn't know that. So I just chose the wrong business model. Mm-hmm. Or you're targeting wrong people, like people that can't really pay for the services you offer. So your services could be amazing, but you're just targeting wrong people. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think a lot of goes like into that to that business model side. Like a lot of people still think you can make money with a blog, like just having a blog, posting a lot of articles there, and maybe then do some affiliate links. But again, this takes years to get ranked. Like, yes, with a good strategy, like we did, like, but we do work with SEO. So how we got a lot of traffic into our site, that's because of the blog. But basically it took us 6 months to get the first traffic, and then like 1 year, but that was like really intense work. And a lot of people, they don't have that maybe knowledge, so it's just a lot of work. So I don't recommend these things when you start out. So yeah.
That's great. So you also, when then you work with your clients, do you help them also identify their niche and the business model that's best for them, as well as you work with them on their strategy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So we work on all of that, and my main thing is that I have a 6 months offer, like a group coaching program where we go through all of those steps, because the client that come to me are usually the ones that are in the beginning phase. Most of them, they know already what is it that they would like to do, or like at least the big industry. So they kind of know, I want to go for marketing, or they know I want to go into like business coaching, or I know I'm a lawyer, so I want to use that expertise. But then we go deeper through the whole, time that we work together, and we looked, okay, what are marketable business models for you? What could be, your niche, and all of those steps.
Super helpful when you start out. I think this is great and absolutely needed, because I mean, we talked about community at the beginning, and if you have a group setting, then you have the community, and you can also exchange and learn from each other. Plus you have guidance from you. So thank you so much. And of course, we'll link all your offers, and you also have a 3-day entrepreneurship challenge. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I have a 3-day challenge that helps you to actually get a little bit more clarity on what it is that you could be doing. Open your eyes a little bit. So I'd be happy for anyone that is interested to get their hands on that, and report back to me how it went, because I also, during that challenge, I give some feedback to everybody that is interested. So yeah, I'm excited for anyone that this challenge speaks to.
Yeah, thank you so much for offering that. That's super exciting. And I don't know if it's maybe personal or business, but in the next coming months, what are you, or maybe even, this year, what are you most excited about?
A lot of things, but I think now I'm very excited to go back to Europe in 1 month and celebrate my daughter's 2 years birthday with the whole family. Yeah, so that's something on my list and on my mind at the moment.
Super
have her first, like birthday, have her first real birthday. Like when she was 1 year, it was us and some family members, but now we will have a couple of kids as well, in the playground.
Fun. Yeah, that's cool. Excellent. Last but not least, I always like to ask my guests if they have a mantra or a quote that guides them on their journey. And that can be, of course, changing, but is there something that resonates with you right now that keeps popping up for you and keeps you on your journey and in your growth and in your success?
So it's something my husband told me once, and I keep reminding myself that when it gets tough, that's when everybody else leave, but you keep on going. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like to think about it. Okay, like when it's really, really tough and I just want to, as I mentioned in the beginning, the moments when I just want to stay in bed and hide under the blanket and like say, okay, I'm not doing it all. I just start thinking, okay, but that's exactly the point where, I mean, I don't really like to think about competitors, but that's where all the competitors leave. So it's like, but I'm stronger than that. So I keep on going. And that's where I get the success.
Excellent. Thank you so much for all your wisdom and for sharing your insights. I'm excited to keep in touch and maybe in Europe or Bali one time in person, who knows?
Yeah, definitely. Andrina, that would be amazing to meet in person and attend one of your classes as well or something.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, if you or someone you know is really starting out, really do check out Dovile's 3-day entrepreneurship challenge. You will find the link in the show notes. We're also linking the books she mentioned, and there is actually 2 from Robert Kiyosaki that Dovile recommends. One is Rich Dad's Guide to Financial Freedom, and then his classic is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You will also find the links and infos to her different businesses in the show notes, which is definitely super inspiring because they're also very different. So the one that she also mentioned during our conversation is that intermittent fasting platform, which is 21dayhero.com. She also has a SEO agency, syncusstudio.ch, and then her mompreneur community in Lithuania, which is gomama.it. So you will find all this information in the show notes. And as we talked about throughout the conversation, support, community, and guidance can always help us, and often it starts with clarity. And on my website, andrinatz.com, and you will also find the direct link in the show notes, you will find a 5-step journey from chaos to clarity, which, of course, is for free. And I do also invite you to reach out for additional support. The first call is always for free, and, we are not walking this life on our own. We're walking it together. And life curation is about connecting these dots, and sometimes it's hard for us to see them on our own. And I know from myself that getting an outside perspective can really create magic. I look forward to hearing from you, and I thank you for being here.